Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight we're reflecting on the voting process that just ended. We're asking whether the process met both international and local standard. Our guests in the studio tonight, Honorable Mike Sebalu from the NRM. He's a member of the NEC, the top body there. He's also a member of the East African Parliament. We have Mr. Nicholas Opio, a legal consultant with Akijul, and Mr. Omar Kalinge Nyago, head of research at the IPC Secretariat. We'll hear some bites from some of the presidential candidates that we interviewed after they voted. We'll hear those now, and then we will go back into our debate.
Voting materials arrived late. Voters have been turned away because the register seems to be a different kind of register from the one the voters inspected. We are disappointed by a development. This is a legitimate ground to discredit the outcome of this election. I don't want to preempt the result of the election, but this should not be something which should be worrying us. We should not be worrying about delivering electoral materials. These materials came over 3 weeks ago. These materials were delivered to the centers, the distribution center, about 10 days ago. So I'm personally very disappointed that the Electoral Commission, through incompetence and deliberate failure, has managed to disenfranchise so many Ugandans. Many other people, perhaps thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Ugandans, may feel dissatisfied.
In Kyangwanzi district, our agents were rounded up very early this morning by the RDC and the district security officer with the assistance of some police, and they were being escorted to the district headquarters. We don't know to which, whether to the police or to another place of detention. We have similar reports in Rohama here, where Janet Museveni is a candidate, and where many soldiers of the PGB have been camping throughout the campaigns, and we understand that our agents are being detained at the military encampment of some of those PGB people who are guarding candidate Janet Museveni.
I had to be shifted to another area. My name now appeared on that particular list, but with a photo that you cannot even tell whether that is Samuel Lubega proper or not. And again, there are multiple names, Sam Lubega, Samuel, but the photos cannot differentiate who is he. Unfortunately, the multiple names of Samuel Lubega cannot be explained by people. So I've gone ahead to vote to confirm exactly what I said yesterday, what I said earlier on, together with other presidential candidates. This is a sham election, a lot of irregularities, rigging, and today we are only cleaning up that segment that has been remaining to show the world and to expose Mr. Museveni, Kigundu, and those men in police and military uniform that what they are doing is not right for the people of Uganda.
People have not found their names on the voter register here. Yes, during the display they came and checked and their names were here. It just means that after the display of the voters register, the Electoral Commission goes back and manages the voters register all over again, because these voters say they came and checked their names and their names were here. But today, their names are not here. If I don't win through a free and fair election, I will concede. But if I find the election is not free and fair, I will not concede.
Free, not. Fair, very much not, because of what has been going on during the campaign period. What went wrong was the state machinery that got involved through different ways, and that definitely unleveled the ground, giving a very big advantage to the party government.
I woke up by 7 and I went around some polling stations. People already in a line. That means that people, they have the conviction, their expectations are high. They want to see something different. And we are very happy that turnout is so big. But what we are afraid about is that some polling stations have opened late. So a very big number of Ugandans, they are not going to have their opportunity to vote. And that will be detrimental to the democracy of Uganda, because the law says we stop by 5. So by 5 we should expect to see lines and lines of people. And some of them will get tired and they will go home, and that will be very bad.
We have carried out a census, and we know how many homesteads support NRM. You know, these groups have been carrying out opinion polls. But for us, we have carried out a census, because you can know in which village which homestead supports which side. And our stand is 84%. Now, what I don't know is whether, of course, we didn't count people in each home. You may find one home there are 20, another one there are 10. But the fact that 84% of the homesteads support the movement.
Well, those are sound bites from the seven out of the 8 presidential candidates, including the incumbent President Yoweri Museveni, sounding very optimistic on that side. Honorable Sebalu, how do you explain the violence that, maybe first of all, would you like to react to some of these statements that we had? Dr. Mr. Vidani said that, the state machinery got involved. And let's talk about that against the backdrop of violence, the military involved in the East.
Yeah, there are statements that have been raised, but I think a number of them need to be appreciated in perspective. Like someone was saying, people came late, the voting started late, and therefore, come 5, people are turned away. That is not the case in electoral practice, and where it happens, definitely that would be a violation, because it states that those that are found in the
queue, they should vote
by 5,
right,
should be cleared. Even if that exercise can go on up to 8, you have to deal with them. So I think some of our presidential candidates also need to appreciate and understand the law, because when you make such a statement, you definitely show you are not quite well on top of the situation. So that is the practice wherever it is. So if someone is not at the polling station by 5, then you can't have any case to plead for such a person, because he's simply de-enfranchising him or herself.
Let's talk about the violence.
Now, regarding the violence, I think it is something that we really must condemn. Violence in whatever form it is and by whatever source it is. And I think my view, I don't have a lot of facts regarding the Mbale incident, and I wouldn't want to really engage in a debate where I don't have a factual situation and objective analysis on the ground. But what I can say as a peace-loving Ugandan is that I do condemn violence, and I don't think there is any party that condones violence. You could have cases of overzealous people and extremists, but I don't think we have any party in Uganda that condones such a thing. But you could have individuals who end up being indisciplined and can do things that are not compatible to good order. But I really don't have a lot of facts regarding the Mbale, but wherever violence has occurred, I do condemn it, and I don't think it is in the interest of any one of us, but there is no party with an official policy of using violence that's why we are engaged in
tolerance to violence.
Or tolerance. That's why we are engaged in this process of democratic process of electing leaders. And this, when we talk about it, I don't think we should make it the norm, because we are looking at isolated instances. Well, although even then, I would want to have a completely violent free election. But where they are isolated, let's not make it appear like it is the norm, because largely, like I've told you where I've been, I've not anything like that. But even where those isolated cases are, it must not be tolerated.
Well, to be fair, I think we have to put this in context. First of all, we had a remarkably peaceful run up to the election. Only one person had been killed yesterday. Nobody should die, but only one person had died by yesterday. And some of us have watched elections for quite some time. And I can tell you, Mbale specifically has been a cornerstone constituency. It's on the cusp of the North and the East, and it's been a battleground for a long time. Right from the time of pacifist James Wapakabulo, there was violence there. So we need to put it in context, and like you've said, it seems to be an isolated case. Mr. Nicholas Opio, will it be easy for the opposition, we mentioned some of these problems with the voters register, will it be easy for the opposition to accept this result?
Well, that's the question you've got to put to them. Glad that the IPC research officer is here. Maybe you want to ask him if it will be easy for them to accept results. But if I were in their shoes, some of this needs to be challenged by whatever means, and that the record should be put straight. But just to go back on what the Honorable said about violence, you know, what I said at the beginning of the program is that my statements are based on remarks and reports coming from up country and in areas I've been to. It may or not have been the rule that violence has reigned throughout the country, but where it has occurred, we need to point that out, because it has a significant bearing on the entire process. earlier on in the year, there were reports of the creation of youth brigades by the different parties.
By opposition parties.
I went to a place in Amuro where the NRM had an official, youth brigade called the JCC.
What does that JCC mean?
I have no idea what it means. Okay. It is headed by the chairperson of Pabo Sub-County. You come to Gulu Town, you have groups for the FDC that are called Kalang.
Kalang, that's the soldier around.
Yeah. So it's evident that these groups anticipated.
It was founded by Norbert Mao in the past.
No, it wasn't founded by Norbert Mao, incidentally. What Norbert Mao had was a different group from what is called the Kalang. I was there myself and I saw it. So I think that the creation of these vigilante youth groups, they may not be condoned by the different parties, but the fact that they're not being condemned itself says a lot. Secondly, the conduct of RDCs and DSOs at district levels, they still seem to think that they're a factionary of the ruling party, and in many cases have been actively involved in suppressing divergent views.
RDCs civil servants?
RDCs are supposed to be top civil servants in the district.
Well, the top civil servant in the district is a town clerk, I think.
In the districts?
Cow.
It's a cow.
Town clerk is
it's a cow.
A city or a municipal.
All right.
But RDCs are supposed to be impartial people.
Right, okay.
And
they're not political appointees?
No.
All right.
They are supposed to be impartial people to monitor government programs, and their involvement in active politics in favor of one side is something everybody frowns upon. And thirdly, in areas where you have seen violence, it's a question of personalities and areas.
Personalities.
Yes. I mean, if you have very strong opposition candidates running against a minister, those areas will most definitely see violence, and you've seen that happening in Mbale,
right,
Sironko, and then I can't wait to hear what's happening in Tororo, where you have Utala against Councillor Jacob Oboth.
Right. All right. Who do you think is going to take part? Mr. Nyago.
But both those, the case of Tororo is a little different. They are both supposed to be NRM. But I think what we need to look at, it's not necessarily that it is opposition versus independent. There are areas where the stakes really go so high. Because like the Zimbabwe issue of Remiag already. I was reading in the papers where they were picking hot spots.
And I think it was
find some of them were like independent and a given party, but where the stakes have gone so high and where the population has been polarized. And so I think we need just to manage the expectations of our people. We shouldn't go in for this like it is the world is coming to an end, because there are cases